Hi guys, welcome to the March Aging Well. We're so glad you're here. We seem to be having some technical difficulties, but we're just going to keep on rolling. And I want to welcome you. You might notice normally I'm actually inside my house doing these sessions, but today, tonight, this evening is just so beautiful that there's no way I was going to be inside. So welcome to my backyard. I'm in my backyard, so if chipmunk runs by again, that's just how it's going to be. But anyway, so welcome. As always, I want to say thank you to my team. So to Audrey, to Courtney, and to Tom. Thank y'all so much for everything you do. And you know, somebody reminded me that sometimes I forget to introduce myself. And I'm Deb Burkham. I am the program director of outreach for the Stick Center. And you know, I love saying our name. So it's the Wake Forest Baptist Stick Center for Healthy Aging and Alzheimer's Prevention. You know, you can't have a better mission than that. And so we're glad you're here. Thank you so much for being here. And I want to let y'all know about another opportunity that I think we could see as maybe just a secondary activity that we can participate in, whoever's interested. I have recently met an amazing woman named Susan Sermon. She is an award-winning author, playwright, and a local champion for all of us. And she wants to do, she's happy to do a writing workshop for us. And it's a creative writing to help us tell our story. And you know, how many times have maybe family members passed, grandparents, great-grandparents passed, that we never knew their whole story? And by taking a workshop like this, it'll be a chance for us to use our voice and tell our story. And so if you're interested in taking part in that, please let me know. Shoot me an email to AgingWell Series, and just the same email you used to register to this at wakehealth.edu. And we will just decide how many people are interested. If you want to meet once a month, maybe twice a month. She suggested twice a month. So it would be an activity separate over and beyond the Aging Well. But anyway, I think it would be something else fun for us to do, because I just think telling our story is something that we all need to do so often. And it just becomes even more apparent to me now that we've all been hunkering down so long that it's time to share our experiences for maybe generations to come. So I hope you'll join me. I'm going to do it. I think it sounds like a blast. And of course, no judgment, no grades, just something fun to do. So again, if you're interested, Aging Well Series at wakehealth.edu, that will be how you sign up. So anyway, without further ado, let's get started on our first feature segment tonight. Opie Kirby is the owner and chef at Finnegan's Wake restaurant. He says it's the best Irish pub in town. Now he says it's the only one. I think there may be one or two more, but it certainly is the best. It's the most fun. It's a very authentic Irish pub. It's located, let me make sure, at 620 Trade Street in downtown Winston-Salem. And so please, Opie, take it away, and he's going to get us set to make a Guinness Irish stew for St. Patrick's Day.
Hey everybody, my name is Opie and I work at Finnegan's Wake on Trade Street. We are the Irish pub in town. We say we're the #1, and that may be because we're the only one, but either way. I'm here with Deb this morning, and part of the Aging Well series that's going on that we're just trying to promote healthy eating and good habits, and at the end of the day, today, my business. So what we're going to make today is Guinness stew, which is a very traditional Irish dish. St. Patrick's Day is coming up in a few weeks. We are definitely gearing up for that. It's our busiest day of the year. This year it'll be a little bit different, but it'll still be a busy day, still be a fun day. We'd love to see people come out. We'll be open from 11 a.m. to, as of right now, 9 p.m. If we're allowed to stay open later, we will. Sorry, 10 p.m. If we're allowed to stay open, we will. So here we are in the kitchen at Finnegan's Wake. Guinness stew, as I said, is what we're going to make. It is beef, carrots, onions, gravy, some herbs, and mashed potatoes. So it's really easy. A lot of the things you will do today, you already do at home. Some of the things I won't even do because you already do them at home and know how to do them. So we already cut up the meat, unfortunately, to get it ready yesterday, but so I won't be doing that. But we've got some onions here, so I'll go ahead and cut those. And ultimately, the vegetables, it's a wonderful thing because it doesn't matter how big or how small you want them. It's kind of up to you as far as what size, you know, how big of a bite do you want is really what it comes down to for us. What I do is just cut the onion, you know, in half, take both ends off, and then I just kind of cut it, kind of quarter it long way. So you get some of these big pieces, you get some of these little pieces, and that's it. And then we'll just break them up when they go in. Grab one carrot. And again, there's only about 5 things in this whole recipe, and it's one of the easiest things you can do. You can make it ahead of time. You can make it a few days ahead of time. It's good for a party because you can prep it in the afternoon if you want, and just kind of leave it. Again, with the carrots, the same as the onions. It all depends on what size you want. We usually cut them on the bias like that and make kind of these little discs, I guess you'd say. And there we go. So pretty much that is your vegetable prep. It couldn't get much easier than that. One thing I would like to mention real quick before we go any further is I'm not wearing a mask today just for this video and this series. Normally at Finnegan's Wake, we're doing all the protocols. Everyone wears a mask the whole time they're in the building, temperature checks, all in the gloves, all that stuff. So do a quick helpful hint as far as how to chop an onion if you want to dice it, slice it, whatever you want to do. So there's the stem or the core piece, let's call it. Just take the top off and then peel it. There's a kind of a watery layer right there, so I'll take that down to the good part. If you're going to slice it, this is where I slice it in half at least, which means you'll just go like that, and you'll get a nice half slice for whatever you want it, salads or anything. If you want to dice it, you will chop on the top of it and go all the way through to the cutting board, but not all the way through to the end of the onion. So when you have it like that, it'll open up like that. When you chop it, every piece will then come off individually like that. And that's how you dice an onion. One other thing that helps, at least for us in this kitchen, is we have a hood system, so it pulls a lot of the mist, I guess you'd say, that comes off that makes your eyes water, makes you cry when you're chopping onions. So if you do have a hood, you know, above, or a vent above your stove, and you're chopping onions at least kind of close to that, turn it on, give it a chance, you know, give it a shot. Maybe it'll help you from crying in your kitchen. We now have everything for the Guinness stew in one container that we're going to cook it in. Just so you know, you don't need to be taking notes right now. Deb will send you an email with the recipe, all the ingredients, anything, the times, the oven temperature, all that fun stuff. So sit back, relax, and just enjoy the show. Everything is in a pan now. The liquid you see in here is Guinness, which is the Irish stout, what we use for a lot of things here, but it is the namesake of this dish. Carrots, onions, bay leaves, thyme, oregano, and then the meat. The meat is cut into about 1-inch cubes. Again, it's as big or as little as you want. You don't want them to be too small. You don't want them to be too big, but it's kind of whatever you're comfortable with. If you don't want to cut them up at the end when it's on your plate, then cut them a little smaller. If you don't mind it, cut them a little bit bigger. Alrighty, we're about to put the Guinness stew in the oven, but we need to make room for that. Luckily, an apple crisp is coming out of the oven right now. Now this is something we have almost pretty much every other week. Not every week, but we try to alternate it with some other things. We usually do a warm dessert with vanilla ice cream. This is the one that we do often. It's very popular, it's very good. It's warm apples with ice cream. Everybody loves that. So, onto the Guinness stew. We will wrap it in foil. The oven is at 400 degrees. Again, you don't need to write that down. And you'll cook it for about 1.5 hours. Then you just put it in there, let it ride, don't worry about it. But don't forget to set your timer, most importantly. Hopefully in an Aging Well series in the future, this apple crisp will be featured. But for now, you got to come to the pub, downtown Winston-Salem, to get it for yourself. While your Guinness stew is in the oven, you'll want to put your potatoes on the stove to get those boiling to make mashed potatoes. However you make your mashed potatoes is perfect for this recipe. It doesn't matter. Whatever your favorite way of doing it is the right base for that. Also, as your timer gets going down, you're going to start making whatever gravy it is you like. We use a beef gravy since we're using beef. If you want to mix up this recipe and add any sort of vegetables to it, a different kind of meat, anything really. I mean, it's a stew at the end of the day, so however you want to play with it. What makes it Irish for us, of course, is the Guinness. But I would recommend if you're doing a beef, then you would use beef gravy. Chicken, you would use a chicken stock or a chicken base for your gravy, things like that. So it's versatile. You can play with it, have fun with it, do whatever you want. So as it's about to come out of the oven, your mashed potatoes should be done. Your gravy should almost be done, but you're going to add some of the Guinness juice out of the beef that's been in the oven to just to flavor it a little bit more. So the best way we found to serve it is to put your potatoes in a bowl and make a little well in the middle like that, so that it's not, so you get enough potatoes, but it's not heaping over the side. Then you take your Guinness stew, we've got ours heated up in a pan here, and you just dump it right on top. And there you have it, Finnegan's Wake Guinness stew. One of the best ways to eat Guinness stew is with a piece of crusty bread. So once you've eaten all your potatoes and all the meat and all the veggies, you can clean out your bowl with that bread and get all that gravy out of there. Also, a salad with a vinaigrette or something a little more acidic is good, just because this has so many rich flavors that don't have much acid and the cream and things like that. So that's what we think. A little bit of bread, a little salad, and this beautiful Guinness stew. You can't go wrong. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Just a little reminder, we are now open Wednesday through Saturday nights starting at 4 p.m. and Sunday brunch from 11:30 to 3. So we'd love to see you. We're doing carry out, curbside, and dine in. We've got heaters on the patio, all the safety protocols going on, and we would love to see you sometime soon. Also, St. Patrick's Day is Wednesday, March 17th, so go ahead and plan accordingly to come out and celebrate with us here at Finnegan's Wake.
So one thing that Opie didn't mention, that it is absolutely delicious to wash down that Guinness stew with some ice cold Guinness. So it would be the most Irish way to enjoy it. So anyway, whatever you do, it was delicious, it was fun. And again, one more fun idea of something to do for St. Patrick's Day. So I don't know if y'all remember last month, instead of an exercise segment, I took you on a road trip. We went down to Seagrove. And remember, we were talking about a face mug class? Well, for my husband's birthday, I surprised him. This was mine. We each made one. And it was so much fun. And it was just being silly and getting out and just, again, being silly and having fun. So anyway, but we're back to exercise this month. And I'm excited to introduce to you Allie Heinrich. Allie got her master's, I want to say it correctly, in health and exercise science from Wake Forest University. And she is actually a health coach, health wellness coach here for some of our health studies, brain health studies. So anyway, Allie is going to show us something fun. Y'all might have seen it in the promo, how to do exercise with something as simple as a kitchen or bath towel. So Allie, go ahead and show us how we can exercise with a towel.
Thank you so much, Deb. I'm so excited to be here with the Aging Well series. Sit back and enjoy, and Deb will be sure to send you these resources and a document that talks about how to do these exercises at home. So what we're going to start with is just a quick warm up. So we're just going to start, roll those shoulders out, get any stress or tension out. Palms are facing outwards. Take a nice big deep breath in. Bring those arms up and breathe out as you push those arms back down. We're going to do this 2 more times. Arms up, nice big deep breath in. Deep breath out, push those arms out. And last time, nice big deep breath in and deep breath out. Good. We're going to do a gentle neck stretch. So just go ahead and gently lean your neck down to the left side. Hold for a second. Go to the other side. One more time, over to the other side. And last time. Good. Okay, we just want to get our lower body warmed up too. So we're just going to do just a seated march. So left leg, right leg. You can go however fast or slow is comfortable for you. We're just trying to get our blood flowing, just trying to get our muscles warmed up and ready for our kitchen towel exercise today. So let's just march in place just a little bit longer. Good. If you want to push yourself, try to bring those knees up higher, whatever is comfortable for you. Good. And now let's get that upper body warmed up, and we're going to sit and do some seated punches. So start on right, left, right, left. Good. So you can make it more difficult by adding a little bit more tension with your punches. Let's just do this a few more seconds. Just getting that blood flowing. Good. Okay. And one more stretch. So, last stretch is our right palm is going to be facing out. Left hand's just going to be holding onto our chair just to give us a little bit extra support. We're going to be stretching this side of our body. So with that palm facing out, you're going to bring that arm up and over and lean down to the left side. You're going to feel that stretch right here. Good. Hold it just for a little bit longer. Good. All right, we're going to do the other side. So holding onto the chair, palm facing out. Lift that arm up and over to the side, and hold. Remember, we just want to feel a comfortable stretch, never any pain. And bring that arm back down. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get into our exercise for the day. So you can use any towel, any hand towel, bathroom, kitchen, whatever you have available. Just want to remember, when you're doing these exercises, you want to hold that towel tight between these two hands so you feel some tension. So keep that towel nice and taut during these exercises. We're going to start with a chest press. So holding that towel on both sides, keep those elbows in, towel close to the chest, and press out and back in. Good, we're gonna do this about 10 times. So again, remember, keep that tension in the towel. This is 4, 5, 6, 7, feel that burn, comfortable burn, 8, 9, last one, and 10. Good. We're gonna go to a shoulder press from here. So same kind of position, holding that towel in both hands, keeping those elbows in, and we're just gonna press up and down. We're gonna do this one 10 times as well. Go, we're at 3, that's 4, 5, 6, more than halfway there, 7, 8, 9, last one, and 10. Good job. If you're feeling that burn in your arms, just feel free to kind of shake it out before we get into our next exercise. Okay, side to side towel pulls. You want to do this one 10 times. I'm going to demonstrate it just a few. So you'll start by keeping the right arm straight, left arm bent, and you're just gonna pull it from side to side. Again, really feeling that tension in that towel. Okay, from here, we're gonna go to rowing the boat. So keeping our hands in that position, it's just like you're on a nice stream and you're just kayaking. There you go, just from side to side, really working to keep the tension in that towel. And you can do this exercise for about 20 to 30 seconds. From here, we're gonna just put our towel down, roll out any tension from our shoulders. We should be feeling just a slight burn from our exercise. From here, we're gonna do a towel snap. This is a good way to get out any tension that you might have. Bring your fists in and pull that towel nice and tight. Should be feeling your shoulder blades working in this exercise. Try to do this one at least 10 times. If you really got a lot of tension, maybe try 2 sets of 10 repetitions. From here, we'll go to our bicep curls. Palms are facing up for this exercise. Holding the ends of that towel. Keep your elbows in and curl. Good. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. All right. So bringing our lower body into the mix, we're going to do a full body march. Holding the towel in both hands again, you're going to bring towel above your head, right leg up, bring the towel to the right leg, other side. Good. And you're just going to do this towel to knee touch. You can go however fast or slow that you want to go. Try to do this exercise for at least 30 seconds. If you need to take a break in between, always feel comfortable to take a break, take a rest. Okay. So from here, we're going to add in a coordination exercise. Lots of fun. It's a good way to get any kind of grandkids involved, because if you don't pick up the towel, you can make them go fetch it for you. So for this, you're just gonna ball the towel up in a hand and just toss it back and forth. This helps us to practice that hand-eye coordination. Okay. After you've done that exercise, about 10 catches for each hand, we're gonna do over and under. So for this, you wanna lift up one of your legs and pass that towel underneath. Then go to the other side, pass it underneath. So again, this helps with coordination. It gets our legs moving, and it also helps to challenge that balance and coordination. If you want, you can make it more difficult and try to throw it, or you can just pass it. For our last exercise, we have side steppers. This is going to work your hips, which is really important when it comes to keeping our balance. So you'll just start by stepping out, in, out to the side, and in. So it's different than our marching in place. We're going out to the side and back in. Good, and do this at least 10 times on each side, or if you don't feel like counting, try to do it for at least 30 seconds. Okay, now that we've had our exercise, we just want to take a few minutes just to cool down. So let's start by palms out. Take a nice big deep breath in. Bring those arms up, deep breath out. Bring those arms back down. Again, bring those arms up, breathe in, arms out and down. Good. We're gonna do a side stretch, but we're gonna do it with the towel. So for this, hold the ends in each hand, bring the towel above your head, and lean over to one side. Should be feeling that stretch right here. Good, hold for just a few seconds, maybe about 10 to 15, and lean over to the other side and hold for about 10 to 15 seconds. Last stretch of our cool down is going to be a seated hamstring stretch. So for this, we're gonna feel that stretch behind our knee. Extend one of your legs out in front of you. That hand on that side is gonna go on top of your leg and slide it down to your ankle and hold. You should feel that stretch in the back of your knee. Don't try to push it by touching your toe or grabbing your shoelace, just a gentle stretch. Hold for about 10 to 15 seconds. Good, bring that side in, and we always want to do what we're doing on one side to the other side. So extend out your other leg, hand on top, and just slide that hand down to your ankle until you feel a gentle stretch on the back of your knee. And bring that leg back in. Well, thank you so much for joining me for our towel exercise class. I hope you enjoy.
Well, thanks, Allie. And you know what? It really was. She did this beautiful, effective exercise using nothing but a towel. So no excuses for us to not be making the most of time that we still have, maybe in our houses, maybe getting out a little bit more. Hey, I've had a couple questions from attendees wanting to know more about the creative writing class. It will be a Zoom class. And of course, it's free of charge because it's Aging Well. That's how we roll. But anyway, so let me know if you're interested. But it is free of charge and it will be via Zoom. So now it's my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker for tonight. Juanita Wade has been with the Western North Carolina Alzheimer's Association as a community educator, and she runs a support group for the Alzheimer's Association. But I think maybe one of the most important pieces of what she does is that she was a caregiver for her mom who had Alzheimer's for the last 5 years of her life. So those of us who have known and loved and lost someone with Alzheimer's know how powerful that is and how that journey goes. And so I can't think of anyone more qualified to talk to us tonight about the 10 signs of Alzheimer's than Juanita Wade. So without further ado, Juanita, please join us.
Thank you very much. I'm going to share my screen now. Thank you so much, Deb. All right, here we go. Yeah, I'll make sure. Okay. Can everyone hear me? I hope so. I'm going to get started now. Again, this is the 10 warning signs of Alzheimer's. This education program is presented by the Alzheimer's Association. As Deb said, my name is Juanita Wade. I'm a community educator for the Western Carolina Alzheimer's Association. You know, this program was designed for those who want to learn more about the warning signs of Alzheimer's and other dementia, and those who have noticed some memory or other thinking changes in themselves or their loved ones. So throughout this presentation, you'll see a number of videos, you'll see listings of information. So I'm hoping that you will use the PDF that I think was handed out to you as we go along, so you'll be able to follow me. So here we go. I think by the end of this session, there are things that I want you to be able to learn. One is describe the typical age-related memory, thinking, or behavior changes. Remember, there's the typical age-related, and then there are the behavioral changes that come with dementia. We want you to recognize the common warning signs of Alzheimer's and dementia. We want you to be able to discuss the tips for approaching someone about memory concerns, your loved one, people around you. We want you to be able to explain the importance of early detection and the benefits of the diagnosis. We want you to be able to identify possible tests and assessments for the diagnostic process, and name some resources that you'll be able to access through the Alzheimer's Association. Let's get started. I'm moving this along because there's some parts that aren't necessary, but I'm focusing on those parts of the presentation that are. So let's talk about those 10 warning signs. Here we go. We're going to start off talking about dementia. Oftentimes you hear dementia, you hear Alzheimer's, and it's important to know what the difference is. So let's talk about what is dementia.
Dementia is the umbrella term for an individual's changes in memory, thinking, or reasoning. There are many possible causes of dementia, and Alzheimer's is the most common cause. Other causes of dementia are vascular dementia, which is marked by changes in the blood flow and the blood vessels in the brain. Dementia with Lewy bodies, identified by specific brain changes throughout the brain that include the buildup of a protein known as alpha-synuclein. And frontal temporal dementia, which is marked by brain cell loss in the front sections of the brain or the frontal lobe. Each type of dementia may have distinct characteristics to cause specific behaviors in the individual, but there is also some overlap in behaviors among the types of dementia.
Well, now we know what dementia is, and they already told us that Alzheimer's is a form of dementia. Let's talk about that.
More than 100 years ago, Dr. Alice Alzheimer described specific changes in the brain, what we call the formation of plaques and tangles. Now, Alzheimer's is a progressive brain disease that's marked by these key changes and is thought to impact memory, thinking, and behavior. The brain has three main parts: the cerebrum, the cerebellum, and the brainstem. Each one plays a role in how the body functions. The cerebrum fills up most of your skull. It is part of the brain most involved in remembering, problem solving, thinking, and even feeling. There are about 100 billion nerve cells or neurons throughout the brain that transmit messages in order for us to create memories, feelings, and thoughts. Alzheimer's disease causes nerve cells to die, which leads to the brain tissue loss, or what we call shrinkage, and causes loss of function and communication between cells. These changes can cause the symptoms of Alzheimer's disease, such as memory loss, problems with thinking, planning, behavioral issues, and even at the end stages, problems with swallowing.
So now we've got dementia, we've got Alzheimer's disease. Why is it important to know the 10 signs? Let's talk about that.
It's important to know what the warning signs of Alzheimer's are and to be on the lookout. We know that we change over time, and the warning signs of Alzheimer's can be warning signs of a number of things. But when you see those, in yourself or in someone you care about, it's important to check it out, to consult with the doctor, to find out what you're dealing with.
Oops. We're going to go to the 10 signs. Now, I'm going to walk you through each one of these, and we're going to talk about what they look like, okay? Ruth said, it's important to know the 10 warning signs. I always talk to my support folks as, I call them ambassadors. You will meet people in your synagogue, in your house of worship. You'll meet your family members, even in yourself. And you'll want to know, are you seeing differences in their behavior? And what do those differences mean? Okay, let's start off with number 1, memory loss. What are the possible signs of dementia? One of the most common signs of Alzheimer's is forgetting recently learned information. So you may have learned in the morning, you may have had cereal for breakfast, but if someone asks you at 12 noon, what did you have for breakfast? You have difficulty recalling something as recent as breakfast. Some other behaviors include forgetting important dates or events, asking the same questions over and over again because you forgot that you asked that already, or increasingly relying on memory aids like reminder notes or family members for tasks that formerly were managed so easily. Now, what does that look like for a typical age-related change? Well, sometimes forgetting someone's name or an appointment and then remembering them later. Number 2, challenges in planning or solving problems. What are the possible signs of dementia? Well, some people may experience changes in their ability to develop and follow a plan or work with numbers, which may result in trouble following a familiar recipe or keeping track of monthly bills, or difficulty concentrating and taking much longer to complete tasks. We see this oftentimes. Family members say, you know, my mom was so good at taking care of her finances, paying her bills on time, but now we're seeing all these bills coming in late. Pay attention. Now, what's a typical age-related change? Making occasional errors when managing your finances or your household bills. So difficulty, number 3, difficulty completing familiar tasks. What are some of the possible signs of dementia? Well, people living with dementia commonly have difficulty completing daily tasks, driving to a familiar location, organizing a simple grocery list, or remembering the rules of a favorite game. I tell the story about, you know, oftentimes you have a grandmother who's so used to baking that wonderful vanilla pound cake, and she puts the things on the counter and she's all ready to go. She can whip those things up, boom, put it in the oven, and 45 minutes later, delicious pound cake. But then you may have a grandma who's beginning to show signs of dementia. She puts all the things on the table prepared to make a pound cake, but she puts the things out and doesn't remember that she was going to make a pound cake. She asks, why are all these things on the table? So those are the signs of the difference between someone with dementia and around the issue of completing familiar tasks. Now, typical age-related change, occasionally needing help to use the settings on a microwave or recording a television show. Hey, I always get stuck on that one. Let's talk about number 4, confusion with time or place. What are the possible signs? Well, people living with Alzheimer's or other forms of dementia can lose track of dates, season, and even the passage of time. They may have trouble understanding something if it's not happening immediately. They may forget where they are or how they got there. They may, in a warm day, 70, 80 degrees, put on a heavy coat because they're confused about what season it is. Now, what's a typical age-related change? Well, getting confused about the day of the week, but figuring it out later. And I think that's the key, figuring it out later. Let's go to number 5. Trouble understanding visual images and spatial relationships. For some people, having vision problems is a sign of dementia, which may lead to difficulty with balance, trouble reading, problems judging distance and determining color or contrast, which may cause issues driving. It is often found that folks who have early dementia have trouble with driving. They find themselves having fender benders because not being able to tell the distance between the front of their car and the rear of another. Or when they turn the corner, they turn too far out in the middle of the street, causing an accident with cars on the other lane. Now, what's a typical age-related change? Vision changes that are related to cataracts or even glaucoma. Quite different. Let's look at number 6. New problems with words in speaking or writing. People living with Alzheimer's may have trouble following or joining a conversation. They may stop in the middle of a conversation and have no idea how to continue. Like, what was I talking about? And be lost. They may repeat themselves over and over again with a familiar joke, a familiar story, because it's comfortable. They may struggle with vocabulary. They're talking about something and they get stuck on a word, not remembering what the next word is, or unable to define what an object is, like having trouble naming a familiar object or using the wrong name. So they might see a ruler on the table, a ruler, and they say, could you please hand me that pencil? Well, it's long, it's straight. The confusion on what is that item. So this trouble with naming familiar objects is common in dementia. Now, what's a typical age-related change? Well, sometimes having trouble finding the right word. Number 7, misplacing things and losing the ability to retrace steps. A person living with Alzheimer's may put things in unusual places. He or she may lose things and be unable to go back and retrace the steps to find them, or accuse others of stealing, which may occur more frequently over time. So just stop and think. You've come in the house from the garage, you throw your keys down on a table or the credenza, and you carry the groceries into the kitchen. Then you remember, oh, I left something in the front seat. So normally you would say, oh, I just retraced my steps, go back. Now, I stopped in that room. Okay, there they are. They're on the credenza. Well, folks who are showing signs of dementia have difficulty retracing those steps. Now, they're accusing people of stealing. Oftentimes, there's paranoia and other behaviors that do increase with frequency over time. Now, what's typical age-related? Misplacing things and retracing your steps to find them. Very common difference. Number 8, decreased or poor judgment. People living with Alzheimer's may experience changes in judgment or decision-making. They may use poor judgment when dealing with money, overpaying at a store, getting calls from scammers or those selling items on the phone and using that credit card, just issuing the credit card to whomever asks on the phone. Paying less attention to their grooming or keeping themselves clean. They forget their basic routine, getting up, getting dressed, brushing teeth, combing hair, having breakfast. So oftentimes people have told me, well, there's a woman in my church. She used to come to church so well dressed, so groomed, her hair always in place. Now she's coming and she's worn pajamas, or she's just kept a coat on. We're not sure what she had underneath. Pay attention. Those are possible signs of dementia. Now, what's a typical age-related change? Making a bad decision or mistake once in a while, like neglecting to change the oil in your car. Simple errors. Number 9, withdrawal from work or social activities. What are some of the possible signs? A person living with dementia may experience changes in the ability to hold or follow a conversation. As a result, he or she may withdraw from hobbies, social activities, or other engagements. Clearly, if you are someone who is having difficulty using your words, expressing yourselves, staying focused on a conversation or a game, you're going to be less likely to want to engage in social activities because you're not going to want people around you to say, gee, Dorothy, you used to play this game. How come you don't remember the rules anymore? Or Bob, how come you're not coming to bowling with us anymore. So people are also having trouble keeping up with their favorite team or activity. These are some of the signs. Pay attention. Now, what are some typical age-related change? Sometimes feeling uninterested in family or social engagements and just not going. But the difference is if someone has stopped going to these activities, taking up these hobbies and these engagements on a regular basis, it's good to understand why. And let's go to number 10. Changes in mood and personality. What are some of the possible signs of dementia? People living with dementia may experience mood and personality changes, such as becoming confused, suspicious, depressed, fearful, or anxious. Changing a setting could upset people, getting really upset, getting easily upset at home with friends, or out of their element, out of their comfort zone. Being fearful when there are a lot of people around, even if they are family, or getting angry about small changes in a schedule or small changes in regular activities that they're used to, again, out of that comfort zone. So what's a typical age-related change? Well, as we get older, we do develop specific ways of doing things, and we can become irritable when there's a change in our routine by time or someone else. But again, it's very important that you know these 10 warning signs. We're going to talk more about them. Okay, the importance of early detection. This section is so very important, and I really want you to pay attention. Let's hear from an expert. Your family and friends are often the first to notice changes. What do the experts say?
It's a very interesting phenomenon that people who have memory problems are often less aware of it than family members or their friends who know them well. One of the reasons for that is our ability to monitor ourselves, which is an important part of brain function, decreases when we start having memory problems. Not in everybody, but commonly, more than half the people with memory problems. And so the person is just not keeping track of the trouble they're having day to day. But the family members are, paying attention. They see, boy, this is starting to happen a lot. And the person's not aware of it. So the family's more aware, and they may talk to their loved one about it. And they say, I noticed you've been repeating yourself. They say, I'm not repeating myself. And that could either be due to the fact that they're not aware of it, or they may not want to acknowledge it.
Right. Let's hear what Mary has to say, because her husband was showing signs.
I was so adamant about what was happening to Daryl. I wasn't sure. I didn't know. And this wasn't the person that I know. This wasn't the person. Daryl was my husband was very, he always had to be building or designing or working with his hands. And it was getting to the point where he wasn't, and he was becoming very frustrated when he was forgetting to do things or go places.
Okay, so we can start to notice things. Family members can start to notice things. And if you continue to observe these changes, it's critical that you start to make a plan. Oops, sorry. You've got to start to make a plan. So first you've got to assess the situation. I encourage people, if you are noticing behaviors in yourself or in your loved one, I always say start to take notes. So often we see something Monday, and we may not see it another time for another 3 weeks. And sometimes we'll forget that we saw it. Well, it's important that you start to see changes, that you start to take notes on, one, how often you see this behavior, and two, the severity. Like if it's happening often, but it's really simple forgetting things, or it's not happening that often, but the severity of the behavior is of concern. So let's talk about what do you do when you start to notice behaviors in family members. Okay, what changes in memory, thinking, or behavior are you noticing? Look at the list. Are you seeing that mom's behavior has changed so severely that she can't take care of her daily activities properly? She's not dressing properly. She's not getting up in the morning. She's not having breakfast. Her routine is lost and she's unable to find it anymore. Are you seeing this happen more frequently? And as I said, with severity? What else is going on? Has mom lost her balance? Have you noticed that mom's nutrition, her eating habits have changed? You really want to pay attention to all of the changes you might be noticing. So what else is going on in mom's life? Did you recently move? Or is mom now going to a program she's feeling uncomfortable about? Are family members coming over often and making mom, in that situation, is making mom uncomfortable? Got to pay attention. Learn about the signs and the benefits of early diagnosis. Absolutely critical. You really want to find out, because you know what? What's going on with mom may not be related to dementia at all. It in fact could be an issue around vitamins. It could be an issue with ear infection, which causes vertigo and some imbalance. You've got to pay attention, because the getting an early diagnosis for what is ailing your loved one will help you. You also want to pay attention. Has anybody else noticed changes? Are you the only one seeing the changes in mom? Has anybody else said, gee, mom's acting a little strange, or I saw mom do this, or I saw mom do that, and I was really surprised? Find out who else has noticed these changes, because if other people are noticing, you can in fact share the notes. Next, you've got to think about having a conversation. Not easy, but you have to present what your findings are to the loved one. You've got to talk with them about what you're seeing, what other people are seeing, and ask them about what they may be noticing about their own behaviors. But having the conversation is where you start. Who should have the conversation to discuss the concerns? Well, you definitely want to have them with your loved one. You want to have the conversation with people who may be in the same household with this loved one. You certainly want to have the conversation with the best friends. If this person lives alone, you want to have the conversation with people who may be observing and, again, taking notes on what's happening. It could be you who has this conversation, but it definitely has to be a trusted member of this person's family or circle of support. The conversation is a difficult one to talk about changes you've seen in behavior. So you want to make sure that there's no tension, or that the people who are a part of this conversation can do it in a way that makes the loved one comfortable. What's the best time and place? Well, it's important to have the conversation as soon as possible. If you're seeing these changes in a loved one's behavior, you don't want to wait 3 months, 4 months, 6 months down the road. You want to make sure you're having the conversation early. One reason to do that is because you may be seeing some behavioral changes that are not related to dementia, and getting a diagnosis early helps. But have the conversation as early as possible in the time when you're seeing these changes in the behavior. What will you or the person having the conversation say? Be honest. Be honest about what you're seeing. No pressure. This is not about, we know you see it. Don't you see it? This behavior is going on. Don't you notice you're not paying attention to the bills? That's not how you want to approach this. You want to be gentle. You want to be kind. You want to create a loving situation. And you want to talk about what you've observed, or what another family member has observed. And you want to talk about, has that person observed it? And if they say they haven't, that's okay. You want to be honest about what you've seen and said that maybe we should talk to a doctor about these changes in behavior. Offer to go to the doctors with the person. Several reasons why. One, if having a conversation about what might be wrong and if it's dementia or not is not an easy conversation. Going as a support is important. The other thing is you can bring a list of what you've written down. What are the observations you've made in terms of the changes in behavior? Again, how often you've seen them, the severity in which you've seen them. The medical team will want to know that information. And if your loved one doesn't remember or is not talking about behaviors that they may have noticed, you need to do that for them. If needed, you need to have multiple conversations. If the first conversation was, nope, I'm not dealing with that, that's not happening, we're gonna go, nope, let's not talk. Well, then you know you should still continue your observations, still write down what you're seeing, but plan to have the conversation at another time when the person's more comfortable. Multiple conversations. And reach out for support. Keep in mind, you're not doing this by yourself. You should be, one, looking for other supports among the family. You should also be looking at your synagogue or other home, house of worship. You should be looking in around your neighbors who may be friends of your loved one. Are they noticing behaviors? But reach out for support. Don't try to do this by yourself. And I always say, turn to the Alzheimer's Association for information and support. There's so much guidance, support, and information that you can get from the Alzheimer's Association. But the thing that we gotta do is see a doctor. Why see a doctor? Again, what behaviors you've seen change may have nothing whatsoever to do with dementia. But if you're seeing them increase and you're seeing them increase with severity, then you want to get the doctor to see what is going on with your loved one. Most people address concerns about memory, thinking, or behavior with their primary care physician. And I say that's a great place to start. However, in this case, the primary care physician refer the person to see a specialist for further evaluation. Geriatrician. Some of the geriatrics are not special in Alzheimer's or dementia, but they may see a neuropsychologist, a psychiatrist, or a psychologist. These are some of the specialists that the doctor may direct your loved one to see. But you want to start with your primary care physician. Oops, let's go on. I'm sorry, I've got a little stick, I'm stuck here. There we go. All right. Sorry. We're going to have Ruth talk about.
There are a number of benefits in early detection of Alzheimer's. For one thing, a person is able to have a voice in what happens next. They can make plans. They can live life more on their own terms. They can also make plans for the future, financial plans, care plans. They can let people know what they want, which can be a real gift later on. It also allows time for families to make plans and to make decisions about who can do what and figure out care and those kinds of issues. Also, the treatments that are available for Alzheimer's don't cure Alzheimer's. They don't slow down the disease, but they do help with symptoms. And it seems as though they tend to work better the earlier a person is able to use those. So that can help too. Some people are interested in clinical trials. Clinical trials allow people to have access to treatments that aren't available yet. And for some people, that can be a really important thing to pursue.
Okay, let's talk about seeking an early diagnosis. Now I'm going to test you, so get ready. Now, true or false? There is currently no way to diagnose Alzheimer's disease. Well, that's false. There are a number of assessments and tests that make it possible for healthcare professionals to diagnose Alzheimer's with a high degree of certainty. This is interesting. This is a change. As Deb said earlier, I was a caregiver for my mom for the last number of years that she lived, but the diagnosis was very late for my mom. And 25 years ago, they had to use different ways to figure out with certainty whether people had a diagnosis of dementia or Alzheimer's. And oftentimes, though, that certainty rather, did not come until after the person passed and there was an autopsy. But now there are, in fact, a number of assessments and tests that can be done to give us that information. Now, here are some possible assessments and tests that someone may have going in to figure out what is going on. An assessment may include their medical history, a physical exam, laboratory tests, and a mental cognitive status test. Now, again, earlier I mentioned medical history and physical exam and lab tests are absolutely critical. If someone has other issues going on, if they are having, as I said, ear infections, other kind of infection, UTI, there are other illnesses that can cause imbalance problems, that can affect memory, that can affect vision. And so you want your medical doctors to clear all those things out as possibilities. And so the test, medical history, physical exam, and laboratory tests are critical. Now, they also will include a mental cognitive status test, because if all else fails, that'll move you towards getting a better sense of whether dementia is involved. Oops. Do dementia-like symptoms always result in a diagnosis of Alzheimer's or another dementia? Let's talk about this. The Alzheimer's Association is a community, of every diagnosis does not, going to the clinic, as I said, is important because you get to rule out everything that is not at all related to a diagnosis of Alzheimer's or dementia. Also, a place to get information is with the Alzheimer's Association. Alzheimer's Association provides a myriad of informational tools, talking on a regular basis to clinicians who can talk to you about ways that you can get help. On the phone, there's a 24/7 helpline. The number is 1-800-272-3900, where you have professionals who can talk to you about things you've seen, what you're noticing, what might be the next steps. You can also go online to alz.org and get lots of information about what presentations like this that might exist, ways of getting involved in trials, ways of getting involved in support groups. And you can find out in communities that are nationwide what else is going on. But I think I'll jump now to give you an opportunity to ask questions. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing.
So thank you, Juanita. And I also want to remind people that you're awfully lucky living in Winston-Salem, is in that we have one of only 31 Alzheimer's research centers in the country located right here. And so it's a wonderful way to get proactive about your health. We have opportunities for people who have some memory challenges as well as for people who don't. So if you want to get proactive and be involved, there's a place for you at our Alzheimer's Research Center here at Wake Forest, right here in Winston-Salem.
And I want to put a plug, Deb, I want to put a plug in for the Research Center, because clearly access to information, I think, is the most important thing for people who have a loved one or who is struggling with questions about their own health. And so I really do want to plug the Alzheimer's Disease Research Center. And I want to give the phone number. So if you got a pencil, you want to jot this down. It's 336-716-MIND 6463. That's the Wake Forest Alzheimer's Research Center. And it's one of only 31 Alzheimer's centers of excellence in the country. And it's the only one in North Carolina. Right, Deb?
Absolutely. So, you know, that's our passion. Over at the Alzheimer's Research Center, we are working every day to get answers, because until we get answers, we're not going to have a treatment, a meaningful treatment or a cure. So anyway, Juanita, it looks like we're out of time. We have gone over a little bit, and I want to be respectful of everyone's time. So what we'll do is we will give you the number again. So for us right here at Wake Forest, it is 336-716-6463. I always want to make sure I'm giving it accurately. So 716-6463, right here in Winston-Salem. So anyway, we thank y'all for being here tonight so very much. Make a date, because on April 13th, yes, that's right, we are going to have a presentation from Dr. Amber Brooks. Amber is going to be talking about how to beat the pain of aging, new understanding, and new possibilities. And we all need that. So until April 13th, be well, be safe, and we will see you next time. Thank you so much.